Hello and welcome to my FMP 2025, a project I've been working on for just under 10 weeks now. Um, for my FMP this year, I have decided to make a two-track introduction to a couple of the metal subgenres. The first one in this video being my industrial metal track. My industrial metal track is heavily inspired by bands like Rammstein and Rammstein. Um, and my entire sort of goal of all this is to give a sort of introduction to what industrial metal is. So for this first sort of couple minute segment, I'm going to go through some of the common factors and features that you can normally find in this subgenre. So let's get into it. Some of the common factors of industrial metal include gridded guitars, which are when the guitars are perfectly in time with the rest of the track. This means that they are absolutely perfect and they sound so tight and clean and removes a bunch of the muddiness and um, lack of clarity from the track. This is very important when it comes on to the second point, which is many guitar tracks. So a lot of industrial metal is dual tracked, quad tracked. I decided to go for the quad track route, which means that I have 8 total guitar tracks throughout the entirety of my track. I have 4 guitars on the left, 4 guitars on the right, all playing the same thing, apart from in the verse where I've swapped out 2 of the electric guitars for some acoustics, add a bit of texture and variety to my track, and because they are gridded, they all still sound so clean and so clear what they are playing. So works very well with powerful drums and the simple drums I have, which drive the track. Industrial metal is very much driven by the drums and the groove of the track, and this is very clearly shown in some tracks from Rammstein, such as Sonna or Feuerfly. These are very, very gridded, very powerful drums, and it makes the track really hit the listener in the face, which is what I aim to do with my track. Typically, industrial metal is at a slower tempo to some other subgenres like metalcore or even death metal. This is because of the simple drums and the more clean rhythm focused guitars, and it really adds to that groove factor, which I've mentioned on so much. Another massive factor of industrial metal is of synthesizers, synth elements, and other samples. So Rammstein use a lot of synth piano in their tracks, again in Feuerfly or Zigzag on their new album, and some other samples. What I mean by that is like electronic industrial sounds, so uh, ample hits, metallic sounds that help build up that structure and the add to the texture of the entire track, which I've added in a specific element of my track towards the end of the song, which you'll be able to pick out. I haven't used many synths, but I've used them in a verse where they're soloed and in the chorus. And yeah, that's basically the common factors of industrial metal. There are loads more, but these are probably, I would say, the 6 most important ones. You could really um, thin them down to 4, but the 4 most important things are gridded guitars with plenty of them, powerful, strong drums that drive the track, slower tempo, pushing that groove factor, and the synth elements and other samples which help build the texture of the track. So this is the aim of what I've made for my track, and without further ado, here's my example.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.